Welcome to Crotoni Entertainment. I'm Chris.
And I'm Bree.
And my shirt didn't get here in time.
Oh.
Probably. We'll get into that, but we're going to jump right in here with Rita Revolto today.
Rita!
We got our social medias going along the bottom. There's a couple things happening right at the start of this video, so I want to get through them real quick. So we got our Instagram, we got our Twitter, we got our emails. We're going to start with Ryan Oxide, but we're not going to start with that. We're going to make a change, but it's time. Fallen Soldier. That sheet's got to go away. That sheet's got to go away. Time for a new sheet. Look at that. Nice and clean. And you'll notice, scrolling across the bottom, we have a Discord link. It probably works. I don't actually know. But we got this nice new platform to paint our Rita Revolto on with our Rhinox hide. And without further ado, let's pull out just our fattest brush here. Dip it in some water, dip it in the paint, and get started. So with Rita Revolto, we're going to paint half the body Rhinox hide while the dogs prance around in the background. This is real simple.
Yeah, I mean,
this model is so easy to paint. I've shared this on the Twitter and the Renegade Games Facebook group and another Discord and whatnot. And I've gotten some feedback, but it's so easy. It's so easy to paint this model the way I did it. So this first coat is going to be brown. It's going to be runny. It's going to be nasty. It's not going to cover that Krylon 2X Perfect Gray matte spray paint here. That's okay. That's what second coats are for, as the pitter patter of dumb dogs. This is really bad. We're really bad at this.
But just hold on. Get.
I'm gonna leave that in.
Get.
And Bree is chasing the dogs away. While Bree is chasing the dogs away, I'm going to go ahead and mention that after we paint this and the paint is still wet, we're just going to set Rita to the side. We're going to let him dry. We're going to come back to him with another coat here. So you see when it dries, it's not full coverage. We just come back with our round oxide after it's fully dry. We just do a second coat here with the same brush.
There you go.
It's going to give us the coverage we're looking for. Bree and I went to Ranger, Poppin', Con, Stoppin', Poppin' Stop, Pippin', Popples.
You're so just awful. It's the Ranger and Pop Stop Expo, I believe, is the full name.
You don't even know the name of it. Anyway, we went to a convention this weekend. So we'll get into that. Next week, because we're recording this before we went to this weekend, I pulled out my Citadel Mornfang Brown and a makeup brush. This is a makeup brush. It was a
newly fixed. BT Dubs.
It's fine. It's fine. The
newly fixed because I had to glue it.
The metal ferrule separated from the wood. I got this. Geez, where were we? We were at one of those outlet style stores.
Mm-hmm.
It was a TJ Maxx or a Bell's or whatever it was, and I grabbed this right off the cosmetics aisle. I think it was $3 for a 3-pack of makeup brushes. They're not my favorite ones I've ever used just because the bristles are so short. But makeup brushes make phenomenal dry brushes.
They do. They really do.
Absolutely phenomenal.
Don't use my unicorn brushes, though. I'll hurt you.
I might use your unicorn brushes.
Don't
Those would be
use
hot.
my unicorn brushes.
So if you think you're too manly to go to the makeup aisle and buy some cheap makeup brushes for your dry brushes, I'm going to remind you, you paint Power Rangers figures probably as an adult. You're not too manly for anything.
Hey. If Jason can rock a puka necklace and look amazing, you can buy some makeup brushes.
Why are you skipping past his amazing red jeans that he kept wearing?
Well, those are good too.
Red jeans
with the red flannel.
What is that?
Oh, the 90s.
Oh, the style is so bad. I'm bad at style, and I know that's bad style. Anyway, you see, I only painted half of Rita with that brown, then we dry brushed that half. The other half is messy. We don't care. Look, here's a bunch of different colors. Steel Legion Drab, Carrick Stone, and Lauren Green. We're actually going to get rid of the Lauren Green momentarily, but I got one of these foam brushes. You can get these at any hardware store. They're like, I don't know, 30 cents or whatever. I'm tearing pieces off of this because it's a sponge-like material. So I'm literally just tearing pieces off of this.
Sponge-like, but it is literally sponge.
It's not a good sponge. It's not sea sponge.
Oh, so, okay, legit. It is not an organic sponge. It is a synthetic sponge. It's
sponge-like. It has sponge-like character. So we're going to Lauren Green, and this crap is dried out. So we're going to audible this away.
No. What did we do? We took it. We put it back in our green section until our wife came along and went, Chris, this thing is dead, and threw it away.
Oh, we both have a wife? When I'm going to meet her? Anyway, we switched to the Castellan Green and still using the foam. We're just going to take a piece of this foam. We're going to dip it in one of these colors. We're starting with that Castellan Green that we pulled out. We got our paper towel handy. As you see, I've wiped paints off this in the past. And we're going to wipe some of the paint off of this brush or this sponge, and we're just going to tap the mini. We're just pressing the sponge against random different parts of Rito here.
To make a khaki.
To kind of start developing a camouflage type pattern.
Yeah.
You can do, and I'm grabbing a pair of tweezers here to get into the smaller areas, so I just grabbed the sponge with the tweezers here.
That where my tweezers went too?
It is. I walked in the room and I said, I'm grabbing tweezers. And you probably,
I thought you were doing something like legit medical.
This is legit. This is very important. I need plastic tweezers. I keep getting the metal ones stuck to magnets.
You hurt my soul.
So,
That's where all my stuff disappears to.
It's true. It's accurate. So, if you can't bring yourself to wander the whatever aisle tweezers are in at your local constabulary, that's a cop place. I don't know why I said constabulary. Commissary. If you think you're too manly for that, you're not. You paint Power Rangers figures probably as an adult. Anyway, you can do a paint-on camo pattern. I didn't want to. I wanted to do something more organic almost, because this is basically, for lack of a better phrase, Rita's skin.
Yeah, I want to know who exactly Master Vile was hooking up with, that this was came out.
I choose to believe that both Rito and Rita are probably adopted brother and sisters.
So he went about the whole Thanos way, every time he took over a planet, he took a kid.
Well, I was going to stick with the Power Rangers theme, kind of say how Astronema and Divatox kind of see Dark Spectre as their father, sort of thing, when he really just abducted them.
That's because he brainwashed them. He Thanosed them.
Well, I would choose to believe that Rito's brainwashed too, because Rito actually has a good heart. I love Rito Revolta. I had a blast painting this mini. This was so refreshing after the Psycho Rangers, which did not get along with me very well.
I still think that that's one of my favorite mini arcs, second B arcs, if you want to call it a B story arc, is absolutely the Rito and Goldar
living in Bulk and Skull's garage.
Living in Bulk and Skull's garage as Bulk's pet. Bulk and Skull's pets.
And then eventually they reunite and drive off into the distance in a space RV after blowing up the Machine Empire.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's amazing. Anyway, we moved on to Carrick Stone. Those three colors that we mentioned earlier. You can use any colors you want. You can use any brown you want. You can use any complementary greens and beiges and tans that you want.
Whatever you've got in your collection already.
It doesn't
crazy.
matter. You don't have to be specific on this one. Just take the colors you like. That's not going to look the way it looks in the show. Well, guess what? I don't care.
It's a kid's show about a bunch of people who fight giant monsters.
And I want, I've mentioned this before with power weapons. I want some part of the minis to look unique to me.
Right. So I have a question. This is my question. You asked me to come up with something to talk real quick about.
Yeah.
So here's the thing.
Yeah.
What is the weirdest thing you've ever used to get a paint technique that you wanted?
It's the weirdest thing I've ever used?
Yes.
The weirdest thing.
The weirdest thing. And I've seen some strange stuff disappear into this game room.
So I grabbed another green real quick. I grabbed a War Boss green because I wanted one more shade of green on it. Does it specifically have to be something I used to put paint on a miniature, or one of the weirdest things I've ever worked with?
Okay, one of the weirdest things you've ever worked with.
Oh my goodness. I don't know the answer to this question. I am definitely put on the spot here. Sponges aren't exactly normal. They're not abnormal.
I loved the time that you were doing a refit on one of your guys, and you decided that you needed to come down the bead aisle with me so you could find the right thing for a hammer.
I did. I found some pretty sick beads to put some hammers on some retributors for Warhammer Age of Sigmar.
So there was that.
I've used twine to make rope on the bases of some Freeblades Mersheo Corsairs to kind of cover up the rock under their foot. They're sculpted. They're white metal miniatures sculpted with a rock under their foot, but I was doing all their basing like they were on the deck of a ship.
Right.
So I kind of just, rather than fight cutting away the rock, I just wrapped twine around it. I don't know the answer to this, but you got me big time on the spot. What do you think is the weirdest thing I've ever used?
Let's see. We've had some weird stuff in the terrain box at times.
Okay, so anyway, we're on the other half of Rita.
Oh yeah. Oh, we're going to go over to
We're using a smaller brush here, and we're painting the other half of his body with Baneblade Brown.
Well, this is like his bony side.
Yes, we're doing his bony side. And this, you don't have to be super careful on most of it. So I started by kind of drawing that line down his face and down his helmet, and then down his body in general. And then that way I have that separation line. And then I can be a little messier on the rest of it, because the rest of it's all going to be that one color. I built a Lazy Susan one time to play games on top of.
Yeah, you did do the Lazy Susan.
That was kind of fun. I've used automotive components. We've used the insides of I used to work in automotive, so sometimes we had used parts that were getting thrown away. I would salvage components off of them. We'd use the insides of fans, fan motors and stuff.
Oh, wait, I know what it is.
What's that?
It's the flea.
I'm sorry, what?
Your plague flea that you built.
Yeah, what did I do weird with him?
The fact that he has a fan.
Oh, yeah, he's got two fans.
He's got two fans on him that are his wings.
Two fans. So for those of you not familiar, I was attempting to make a Helldrake for Warhammer 40k long time ago. And I took a Warhammer Fantasy at the time, a Ragnarok spider. And I repositioned all the legs, kind of the way a flea's legs would be. And I put it on a flying stand, and I put big metallic arms with fans on it, so he could be flying.
I'll post a picture on the Instagram if anybody wants to check him out, because he's definitely one of those moments where Chris just kind of was like, I want to see what I can do.
So I built him, and I painted him. And when I finished painting him, a new Chaos Codex came out, and he was no longer an option for the Death Guard.
Yeah, he sat up there for a while.
So,
we'll definitely someday use him as a monster to game.
Yeah.
Maybe Julian will get to fight him one day.
I'm sad. That makes now you made me sad. On not today, not on Rito Day.
Not on Rito Repulso
I love Rito Revolto.
That's true.
I love Rito so much. This guy cracks me up. His first appearance, and obviously his first appearance was a Sentai appearance. He's competent. He's
dangerous.
I'm going to wreck up the Thunderzords with all this American costume footage interspliced in there, and we're going to break down the Thunderzords.
And he does it, man.
Oh, he's scary. And then they're like, this guy's just a big giant goofball. Let's turn him into a big goofball. And then him and Goldar are like BFF, and we already painted Goldar, so we got to paint Rita, and we got to do him justice.
Yeah,
because Goldar came out really, really well. But I like Rita. I just want to give him a hug.
I wonder if Rito, with the show creators, went through the same problem that Zed did, where he tested with audiences as too scary.
And they had to wind him down for parents.
And they had to be like, whoa. The half camo, half skeleton guy is too much.
Well, Goldar became incredibly slapsticky with Rito involved.
Yes.
And Rito was very slapsticky himself. Mm-hmm. So I choose to believe that the two of them together are just proof of how bad of a leader Tommy Oliver was at the Rangers.
Because these were the two most dangerous things that could come up against?
Well, I mean, Scorpina had, one appearance in season 2 or 3?
Yeah, maybe 2. Definitely...
But Scorpina was, a badass when she showed up in season 1.
Yeah, she was.
And, Goldar back then was actually a threat. He'd team up with other monsters like King Sphinx or, Scorpina, and he was actually dangerous.
That's because he and Scorpina were hooking up on the DL.
So, when... it was not the DL. It was clear. It was obvious. Good on Goldar, by the way. But when Jason was the leader, he had, semi-threatening henchmen. Tommy's like, Rito's an idiot, but he still blew up the command center under my watch because I'm a terrible ranger.
In case anybody had forgotten, Chris still hates Tommy Oliver.
Oh, my God, so much. I hated painting the Psycho Rangers so much that I almost wanted to paint a Tommy Oliver, and that's how bad it was. So I'm doing some lead belcher, basically the darkest silver I could find, for just the nozzles of his flame-throwing shotgun bazooka thingy and the cables that run off of them. So it's I'd say a splash of color, but it's very dark, so it's not really a splash of color in any capacity. But it's something. It's something to kind of take the eye away from that, this strange bazooka thing. That I'm pretty sure he only used that one time when he was blowing up some Thunderzords. If he didn't misplace that in his laundry pile or something,
he totally did.
Oh, he could have been a serious threat to the Rangers going forward.
He totally lost that. And actually, I would bet you, with what we know about Rito later on in the series, he probably traded it away for something that he liked.
Completely off topic here with Rito. That just made me think about Rita and Zed and kind of how messed up a couple that was, because that kind of started with the Power Rangers equivalent of sexual assault on Rita and Zed. With the whole love potion thing. That was kind of wrong. That was kind of messed up, guys.
It's not great.
Not great. It didn't age well. But anyway, we're gonna pull out our Agrax Earthshade, and we are going to wash the entire model.
Because it is talent in a bottle.
So what this is going to do on the, our left visually, Rito's right, it's going to add depth to the bone without us having to pick all our way down in there. And what it's going to do on the camo side of his body is it's going to, all of those kind of spots where we have the splotches of different color, it's going to help blend them in together with that darker tone, kind of bring them into one piece. We're cheating on highlighting Rito 100%.
Legit.
This is a mostly dry brush or wash mini with the sponges. I mean, we're cheating hard. I mean, you got to buy yourself a new hobby supply, but seriously, guys, those brushes are 30 cents. I think they're less than that. I think 17 cents. I made that number up. But Rita and Zed was a pretty messed up couple.
What brushes are 17 cents?
Those foam ones. Yeah. Yeah, they're dirt cheap.
You can get 20 of them for $1.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So not too much of major spoilers, but anybody who's following the Boom Comics right now is seeing that we're kind of getting a Lord Zed origin story. And it's only just begun. There's a lot more to go with it. I'm not going to say where he came from. I'm not going to give any details. No spoilers. Non-spoilers.
Although Chris has ideas.
I don't know how I feel about it. No, the end of that issue clearly tells us. But I don't know how I feel about it.
You didn't want to know where he came from?
I didn't. I didn't want to. I also don't want to know where Rito came from, possibly because I know Rita's his sister, and if they're actually biological, that's very scary for their mother.
I've always kind of held to the idea that they're very possibly half siblings, because I don't see Vile being like the kind of guy who's going to stay home, like settle with one lady and like come home.
We know Master Vile's origins now too, thanks to Power Rangers Universe.
That's true.
And I don't know how I feel about that either. A lot of times I don't want to know where these things came from because it never lives up to your expectations. So we got our Carrick Stone now. We're dry brushing this on the skeleton half of Rita's body. But you never, I personally never want to know because it never lives up to expectations. For example, the Star Wars prequels. Anakin Skywalker was, oh my God, just so bad.
Okay, again.
No, there's not an again. His story, his story was bad. His story was bad. His backstory of being a Force baby who inexplicably is the best mechanic and best pilot and best at everything and has the best heart ever. But
he doesn't have the best heart.
And now he's a jerk. And it was bad. And there was no way you couldn't take an iconic villain like Darth Vader and give him any origin story that was truly satisfying. We all know what saved the prequels, and that was Ewan McGregor.
That's legit.
100%.
Hello there.
100% Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Hello there.
Best thing ever. But same thing with Zed. I don't necessarily want to know. Nothing's going to live up to what I want to know. We're using another color here. What color was that? I don't know. I don't know what colors I use, guys.
Oh my gosh. We're doing it again. We're so good at this.
I think this was Ushabti bone.
It probably is because that is your...
kind of a go-to bone for a highlight. But the thing is, you don't have to follow specific colors on this model.
No, you just want to go to a color that's about one step up from your first highlight color.
I'd say a couple steps down. You want to pick your highest level bone.
Yeah.
And then you want to put a little white on that, maybe. Because a little bit of white sometimes can really bring it out.
A little white, maybe?
A little white, maybe. But you want to pick your bone color, and then you want to pick probably 2 steps down in a wash.
Yeah.
And just build it up, just the way we did. A thick layer, your wash, a dry brush, another dry brush on top of that, and you're going to get a good, solid result.
Yeah, and bone.
So here's our dead white.
Yep.
I promise just a little bit of dead white. This is used very, very sparingly.
Because it is...
it's going to grab every high point. And that's what we want. We want it to grab every high point to go as that last highlight. There is an extremely small amount on my brush right now. And we just do a little dry brush, and you can see it. You can see even from this distance. And we record this, guys, when we record this, we watch the video as we record, and the screen is moderately small. I could blow it up, but where's the fun in that? But even from this small screen, which is not much bigger than a cell phone screen, and us sitting a couple feet away from it, you can see the white picking up on the edges.
Oh, yeah, it's almost immediate. Dead white is one of my favorite colors to use for that extreme and highlight.
You know what's funny is I love Vallejo Dead White. I hate Vallejo Black. So we got our Citadel Abaddon Black, and flipping it around, I love Citadel's Abaddon Black. I hate every white that Citadel has ever produced. I have never had luck with any of them. I've tried.
So thin. I don't get how.
No, they're not. No, you're thinking of the wrong whites.
Which one are you thinking?
The white for Citadel, they dry out instantly.
Oh, yeah.
Like they touch air for the first time and they're already solid. I've tried every white they have. I've tried different storage techniques. Mm-hmm. I've actually even transferred a couple of them to dropper bottles and they still solidify on me.
I actually know the science of why that is.
I said the science is they're going in the garbage because I hate them.
Well, that's
but
true.
Vallejo Dead White and then Vallejo Black I don't get along with because the Vallejo Black, it has this weird gloss to it. Mm-hmm. It doesn't look like a black. It looks like a black somebody tried to lighten up and then make glossy. But anyway, we don't have a lot of time for the science. Okay. So if you can cram it in quickly, I'm going to go. Well, hold on. I'm going back to the Castellan green real quick because I noticed just a couple little spots. Well, no, I didn't. I'm lying about the spots. His little bracelet.
Oh, his little bracelet.
Yeah, he is wearing a green bracelet on his right hand. So we're just going to paint that with the Castellan green.
Bracer kit. That's
no, it's his bracelet. And we're painting with a makeup brush. It's a bracelet.
Oh, you're not. You're painting it with a normal brush.
It's too small. It's too small to be a full bracer. It's a bracelet.
Oh my gosh. Anyways, it is because of the titanium oxide. Because they're titanium oxide, and there's probably, for whatever reason, they've put a ton in because they want a really, really pure white. It means that it oxidizes quickly. So that's why it dries out so quickly.
All right, Citadel Illinois. I actually knew I actually knew that there was titanium in it, believe it or not.
I would imagine so, since I sold paint for years.
I knew it before you. There was life before you.
There was.
It wasn't great. It wasn't great life. So we probably set it on long oil, and this is going over the metals, which we've already hit with that Agrex. So this is kind of adding like a weathered or used look to those metals. And we're also going to do this on his bracelet. Yeah, we're going there. So there we go. We'll just get a little null on that. And there's no other reason for this other than just getting just a little bit of depth on it. And so then we, he's a boss.
He's a boss.
Probably the easiest boss to beat in the game, especially if you draw that card that gives you 2 more cards, you can kill him in 1 round.
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful.
So we're going to pull that out. We got our Screamer Pink, and we're going to paint the rim of his base with the Screamer Pink, just like we do with the other bosses. And actually, this works really well on him because he doesn't have a lot of vibrancy to him to begin with.
No.
So this actually, when it dries, really pops the mini in just a phenomenal way. And guys, that's it. That's Rita Revolta. He is so easy to paint. You're dabbing with a sponge. You're dry brushing. Your results are absolutely fantastic. He looks sinister as hell. He looks good.
He does. He actually looks scary as opposed to that fun, slapstick buddy of Goldar.
I mean, it's great. So let's take a 360 view of him here real quick.
Here goes. Going for a trip.
And guys, like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. We'll talk about the Ranger Poppin' Slapsticking later. Hit the bell button for notifications. And thank you so much for watching this episode of Kryptonian Entertainment, which I enjoyed so much more than the Psycho Rangers.
Bye.